It was a siege unlike any the world had seen. An ancient city locked in blood and desperation. Crusaders at the gates, starving and dying. Muslims defending their home, waiting for reinforcements. And somewhere in between, betrayal, lies, cannibalism, and a discovery so disturbing it split the Christian army in two. The Siege of Antioch is remembered as one of the greatest victories of the First Crusade. But beneath the surface of that glory lies a truth that was never meant to be known. A forbidden truth. In 1097, the First Crusade was in full motion. An army of Western knights, barons, mercenaries, and fanatics marched across Asia Minor, answering Pope Urban II's call to reclaim the Holy Land. After months of grueling travel, death, and internal tension, they arrived at the massive city of Antioch, one of the most important strategic strongholds in the Levant. If they took it, the path to Jerusalem would be open. But they weren't ready for what awaited them. Antioch was not just a fortress, it was a riddle. A walled city protected by mountains, rivers, and more than 400 towers. Its defenders were disciplined and well-supplied. The Crusaders, on the other hand, were already running out of food. Winter was coming. Their ranks were thinning, and morale was beginning to collapse. Yet they stayed. For months. From October 1097 to June 1098, they dug in. And the longer they stayed, the darker the story became. The Christian army fractured under pressure. Leaders bickered. Some left. Many began to question the mission. The noble vision of a holy crusade dissolved into disease, famine, and paranoia. Soldiers stole food from one another. They raided surrounding villages, killing indiscriminately. Some reports speak of cannibalism. Starving crusaders allegedly boiling the flesh of fallen enemies and even fellow Christians. But the darkest moment was yet to come. In early June, just as hope was fading, a strange turn of events occurred. One of the city's defenders, an Armenian named CIHUYS, betrayed his own people. He agreed to secretly open one of the gates in exchange for wealth and protection. And so, under the cover of night, the Crusaders stormed the city. Chaos exploded within Antioch's walls. Muslim soldiers were caught off guard. A massacre followed, thousands slaughtered in their sleep, in their homes, in the streets. The city fell. But victory was short-lived. Within days, a massive Muslim relief army under Kerboga of Mosul arrived to retake Antioch. Now, the Crusaders found themselves besieged in the very city they had just conquered. They were trapped, surrounded, with little food and no escape. Desperation once again took hold. Some urged retreat. Others prepared for death. And then, something strange happened. A poor monk named Peter Bartholomew claimed to have a vision. He said that Saint Andrew had appeared to him in a dream, revealing the location of a holy relic buried beneath a church in Antioch. The Holy Lance, the very spear that had pierced the side of Christ on the cross. The Crusader leaders were skeptical. Some thought he was mad. Others, desperate for hope, encouraged the excavation. And Peter was right, at least something was found. A rusty piece of metal. Whether it was a genuine Roman spearhead or just a discarded weapon buried by time, no one knows for sure. But to the starving and fearful Crusaders, it didn't matter. They believed. The finding of the Holy Lance transformed the mood of the army. Suddenly, their suffering had meaning. Their cause was blessed. God was with them, but not everyone was convinced. Some commanders, like Bohemond and Raymond of Toulouse, suspected that Peter had planted the object, that the vision was fabricated, that it was a trick to hold the army together. But none dared to speak the full truth aloud. To challenge the relic now was to risk mutiny. Still, the doubt festered. As the army prepared to face Kerboga's massive force, something strange began to happen. Stories spread of visions, miracles, glowing figures seen on the city walls. Were they hallucinations, desperate illusions, or propaganda? Then, in an almost unthinkable act, the Crusaders charged out of Antioch's gates. Outnumbered and weakened, they met the enemy in open battle, and they won. Kerboga's coalition fractured. Some of his allies abandoned the fight before it began. Others believed the rumors of divine protection. The Crusaders, filled with what they believed was the power of the Holy Lance, fought with ferocity. Antioch was saved. It was a miracle, or so history claims. But behind this triumph lies the forbidden truth, that everything, the betrayal, the relic, the victory, may have been the result of desperation, not destiny. Peter Bartholomew would later claim even more visions. He spoke of divine instructions, of heavenly approval for Bohemond to rule Antioch. But as skepticism grew, he proposed a trial by fire to prove the truth. He walked barefoot through flames. He died from his burns days later. His followers claimed he had passed the test. But the silence of the Crusader leadership spoke louder. The lance was quietly hidden away. Peter's name faded into the background. The church never canonized him. Antioch had been won, but at a cost. Not just in blood, but in truth. The Siege of Antioch is remembered as a miracle, turning point, but the reality may be far more disturbing. A siege held together by fear, by fabricated relics, by lies told to keep men from collapsing. It was not faith that saved them. It was a collective illusion, born of starvation and panic. And yet, it worked. The Crusaders survived. They marched on. They took Jerusalem, but at the center of their triumph stands Antioch, a city where the sacred and the profane collided, where holy relics may have been forged, visions staged, and victories claimed on the backs of half-truths and propaganda. So what do we make of it? Was the Holy Lance real? Did saints truly walk the walls of Antioch? Or was it all part of a desperate, brilliant deception? History doesn't always give us answers. Sometimes it offers only questions. But one thing is certain. Antioch was not just a siege of stone and sword. It was a siege of belief. A battle not only for a city, but for the very soul of the crusade itself. And in that battle, the truth was the first casualty.